Okay, so this next note's going to be about polynomials. We want to build a strong vocabulary so we know what we're talking about. So a polynomial is an expression that consists of a number, a variable, or product of number and variables that have whole number exponents. So the key here is that you have whole number exponents. Okay, so you don't have fraction exponents in this case. Also, there are terms in polynomials that are separated by plus or minus signs. And then we have different names or special names based on the number of terms for different polynomials. So here are the first couple of special names. Now poly means many, but specifically if a polynomial only has one term, that's called a monomial. Guys, to make the connection to other words that we know in the English language that have the same prefixes, the prefix mono, like in monopoly means that it's one person who owns everything. So mono means one. If you say mono a mono, it means you're going to fight one-on-one. So mono means one. So a one-termed polynomial we call specifically a monomial. If a polynomial has two terms, that's called a binomial. Again, think about the word bicycle. The word bicycle, the bi in bicycle means that you have two wheels in your bicycle. So the prefix bi means two. So a two-termed polynomial is called a binomial. And then following that same logic, if you have a three-termed polynomial, we call it a trinomial. Again, think about the word triangle. A triangle we know has three sides. So the prefix tri means three. So a three-termed polynomial is called a trinomial. And then if it has four or more terms, we'll just call those polynomials. Again, poly meaning many. So in examples J, K, and L, we want to identify what kind of polynomial do we have based on the number of terms. So in example J, remember that terms again are separated by a plus or minus sign. So in this example, I'm going to have one term here, 2x squared is a term, and then this minus sign separates the next term, so then minus 5x is the second term, then plus 7 is a third term. So this has three terms. So if we have three terms, then we call this a trinomial. For example, k, this, if you notice, it's 10 times x. There are no plus or minus signs here, so this is going to be just one term. So if we only have just one term, then we call this a monomial. And then lastly, example L, this is 3y minus 1. Here we see two terms. 3y is a term, minus 1 is a term. So if we have two terms, then we call this a binomial. Guys, again, in math, vocabulary will be very important because as we get into different topics, it may sound more confusing than it really is if you don't know what the words mean. It might sound scarier, but if you know what the words mean, then you understand that we're just, in this case, describing the size of an expression by the number of its terms.